Watch the full video till the end for my review and my ratings for Dune Part 1. And also, my Dune Part 2 review will be out in a couple of days. What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to Tausify. My name is Tausif, and recently I finished watching a movie called Dune Part 1, and I'm also reading the book Dune. I'm halfway into the book, and I'm Muslim. I don't usually say that before I review things, but the reason why I'm saying that is because the movie came out somewhere in 2021. I believe it went straight into streaming right after it came out, and I watched a little bit of the movie, and the movie, people were straight up calling the protagonists of the movie things like the Mahdi, and I was like, hey, what, beg pardon? Because these are stuff like straight out of the out of the religion of Islam, so these terminologies were straight up Islamic, so I was like, hey, what's going on? And also, the movie felt kind of slow to me back in 2021, and a lot of the things that were happening, I was like, hey, maybe I'm not understanding all of it that is happening. Maybe I should pick up the book someday and read it first before actually jumping into the movie. And so fast forward to 2024, I've started reading the book, and yeah, it's a pretty good book. And now I kind of understand a lot of the context and a lot of the scenes. A lot of the stuff in the book and in the movie is really, really cool. And the movie follows the book pretty closely. It's a pretty faithful adaptation, I should say. So what I've gathered from the book and from the movie is that Dune is set in a futuristic kind of setting where royal houses rule planets, and our protagonist, Paul, is the heir of House Atreides, and he is the prophesized Mahdi, or the Messiah. So first of all, as a Muslim, I was like, it's either one or the other, because in Islam, Mahdi and the Messiah are two entirely different characters. First of all, Jesus is the Messiah in Islam, and Mahdi is a completely different character entirely. So basically, the Mahdi is a prophesized leader who is going to protect the Muslims from the Antichrist and help the Muslims survive until the second coming of Jesus. So we all believe in the second coming of Jesus, which is similar to the belief of the Christians. So yeah, we Muslims also believe the same thing, and in our religion, our Messiah is also Jesus, son of Mary, peace be upon him. And the Mahdi is a different character. He's also a prophesized leader, but it's not exactly the Messiah. And none of it is engineered by the Bene Gesserit. So it's actually the real thing that we believe in our religion. So so Paul either has to be the Mahdi or the Messiah. He can't be both. It has to be one or the other. So, the Bene Gesserit also call him other things like the Kwisatz Haderach, and also he's also called something like Lisan al-Ghaib, which means voices from the outer worlds. So yeah, so a little things here and there, which I found kind of Islamic, and the way the people, the Fremen, treat Paul in the movie, very similar to how we Muslims have like our scriptures describing the Mahdi and how he's going to be and how he's going to arrive and stuff like that. It's also very similar to how we treat the Mahdi in our religion. So it's very similar in that sense, right? He's a prophesized hero leader to come. So that is basically how Paul is treated in the movie. So that is me and my take as a Muslim of the Islamic angle that Dune actually has. And now actually going to the actual movie. Now, the book is great and very complicated at times. I'm actually taking help from the Reading Dune podcast. I find it very helpful. They really go into detail and articulate each of the chapters as they read them, so I find that very helpful. And so yeah, the book, complicated but also fun. There's a lot of good, like, the writing is sometimes very good. Some people actually complain about the internal monologue, but I also kind of like the internal monologue in the books. It kind of gives a lot of context sometimes, right? So now, actually going into the movie, right? I feel like the movie was mostly very faithfully adapted. The part one from the books. Very little of the books, like, I also don't understand what the very little things that they changed. I also kind of wonder why they changed them, because they could have kept them the same and it could have been even better. But for the most part, the movie was adapted almost near exact perfectly with small changes here and there. But most of the stuff, a lot of the lines they say in the movie that are straight from the books, which is really nice to hear. And especially the Gom Jabbar scene where Paul puts his hand in the thing. It's in the trailer, so I think I can talk about it. This is a spoiler-free trailer, by the way. So the scene is actually in the trailer. He puts his hand in the thing in the box. So that was word for word exactly the same as the book, right? With the exception of the in the book, Paul actually says, "Fear is the mind killer." The line Paul actually says that in the book, and in the movie, his mother actually says it and kind of telepathically, I think, communicates it to her son, maybe. But that is the only thing that I found a bit different. So slightly different things, but mostly accurate. And I'm pretty happy with the faithfulness of the adaptation. So number one, a really well adapted movie. Number two, I think the visuals were jaw dropping. It was like sometimes it was just phenomenal to watch. It wasn't awesome. It felt like most of the scenes in the movie you can just screenshot them and just use them as wallpapers. The movie is just pure artistry. You know, the visuals, the CGI, the practical effects, the usage of miniatures, and all of the stuff that they did was fantastic as far as the visual aspect of the movie is concerned. The music and the audio was also really cool. Hans Zimmer doing the music, obviously, a genius as always. The casting, however, we all know that the Dune is kind of like the Fremen stuff, at least, is kind of like taken off of like Islamic, Middle Eastern kind of influence. So I kind of thought that they would have like Middle Eastern actors play those roles. Like most of the Fremen roles, like Chani was played by Zendaya, and the other people were all played by non-Middle Eastern people, which on the one hand, I feel like if you are setting your story in a futuristic world where, you know, thousands of years have passed and they're living in a different planet altogether, so then maybe people would look different. But at the same time, I would have liked it if, like, you know, Middle Eastern people got some representation that is positive, not portrayed as evil terrorists, you know, for once. If you think about it, if all the people in Game of Thrones were played by Chinese people, or if all the people in Harry Potter were played by Indians, or all the animals in Narnia were played by humans, you would see that as a problem. But yeah, sure, don't cast Middle Eastern people to play those roles. Yeah, just replace them. You know, the media treats Middle Eastern people so harshly. I felt like, for once with Dune, I felt like they could have gotten some positive rep. And I'm not Middle Eastern, by the way. I'm Bengali. I'm from Bangladesh. So yeah, moving on. So that was my opinion on the casting, but it was still well acted. Everybody in the movie did great, especially Timothée Chalamet and Jessica. Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, was awesome. They were reliable, and they were very effective at translating the Jessica and Paul from the book onto the screen for us. And in my mind, when I read the book, I always imagine Paul as Timothée Chalamet and Lady Jessica as Rebecca Ferguson in my head. So they were pretty successful at planting the picture even in the reader's mind. So yeah, so pretty well done in the acting department, and making and giving us the feel of Dune. Even though, like I said, the casting I kind of don't agree with 100%, but even those people, Zendaya and the actor who plays Stilgar and the actor who plays Jamis, they all gave really good performances. So overall, this was a really, really cool movie, and I understand that anybody who hasn't read the book, if they watch this movie, they're gonna think that it's pretty slow, and a lot of the things that happen in the movie, they wouldn't really immediately get. A lot of the context in the book are given through internal monologuing, so I feel like if the movie did some of that, a little bit of internal monologuing in the movie, it would have helped giving it a bit more context. But on the other hand, the movie did make me want to pick up the book, so I feel like I see that as a plus. But yeah, it's like a lot of people did say, from watching other reviews, a lot of people did say that it's kind of hard to understand the context. So in that case, I do feel like they could have added the internal monologuing that happened in the book. Denis Villeneuve could have added some of that in the movie to make it more, to contextualize it a bit more. So yeah, those are the only things that I feel like they could have improved, could have made the movie understandable. So yeah, that was basically my review of the Dune movie. If I were to give it a ratings, I would give it an 8.8 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on the movie. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And please, I would really appreciate it if you guys push the bell notification so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And leave a comment. What do you think about Dune? And what's your thoughts about Dune Part 2? Don't put any spoilers regarding Dune Part 2, which I will be watching in a bit. I forgot to say that in the beginning of the video. Yeah, I am going to see Dune in theaters very, very soon, in a couple of days. And yeah, with that being said, wait for the Dune review that is coming up really, really soon. And with that being said, until next time, be good and stay Tausify.